Good evening, everyone, and welcome to News of the Intersphere. I'm Notice, your UrbanMech anchorman. As we get into the year 3002, there's a lot happening. We start off this year in the Free Worlds League. After years of relative peace, Captain General Janos Merrick decides that it is time to flex his muscles and expand the Merrick sphere of influence. Early in the year, he orders an attack on the Lyran Commonwealth in an effort to expand the League's borders with General Willis Crawford in overall command of the campaign. And, yeah, I really don't know what's up with the whole forehead tattoo thing. I can't find any reference to it in any books, and every single picture that exists for him has it on. I don't know, maybe he needed to out-Merrick another Merrick just so that he could claim the throne of Merrick, you know, glory to Merrick. Look, it's the Free Worlds League, okay, and they're batshit crazy. Sometimes even more than the Capellans, and that's saying something. Don't believe me? Just wait until I cover the Jihad era. Now where was I? The planet of Loric is invaded by the Free Worlds League in March as the first part of the offensive. 2 regiments of the Merrick Militia and the mercenary unit Caddy's Regiment are tasked with taking the planet. However, the Lyrian High Command was tipped off to the attack and made preparations to defend the planet's industrial cities. This was done with emphasis on the coastal cities of Garth and Tromoth, where the artillery defenses were significantly improved. This became a fiery nightmare as the attackers were unable to move further inland, eventually becoming bogged down in a killing field that resulted in Caddy's regiment being decimated in the process. By the time November rolls around, they're in full retreat off of the planet. The farmers on Loric all cheer and say so long and thanks for all the mechs as they quickly tow away anything that was left behind. While his forces are being curb-stomped on Loric, Janos Merrick orders the second part of the offensive to go forward, an attack on the game world of Solaris 7. The invasion force is easily repulsed by the Donegal guards who come to the planet in force for a counterattack, having also been tipped off to begin with. It also helps that House Steiner's Black Ops division, known as Loki, had sabotaged one of the Merrick dropships, crippling a whole battalion. The only Merricks that had any success on either Loric or Solaris, and that was mainly by chance, was when 2 lances of mechs destroyed some small factories in the Solaris city suburb of Zolara. Solaris 7 residents barely notice the disturbance as they're too busy drinking Fusionaires and watching Terry Bates in her Atlas bitch slap Hans Schleinberg around to become the next Grand Champion of Solaris. Towards the end of the year, General Crawford is arrested, court-martialed, and sentenced to be executed for incompetence of command and for his overall failure in the Lyrian campaign. This will be the first such political execution in nearly a century within the Free Worlds League. Jeez, and I thought failure in the Draconis Combine was bad. The Lyrian High Command toast the occasion with champagne on Tharkat and say, hey, we really don't have the worst generals out there after all. Janos Merrick could not be reached for comment as he was too busy covering his ass while hanging Crawford, literally, out to dry. Despite his best efforts, Anton Merrick, brother of the Captain General, newly named Duke of Procreon, commander of the Capellan front, and personal friend to Crawford, fails to change Janos's mind on the decision. I'm sure nothing bad will come of this, right? Right. We now go to the Draconis Combine. Akira Kurita, nephew of the Coordinator, is killed while flying on patrol due to flaws in his Shoulgar aerospace fighter's design. In completely unrelated news, mass layoffs and firings occur at the Magnan Aeronautics plant, the place where the fighter was designed and built on Skylar. This happens along with a few high-level executives committing seppuku in atonement to Coordinator Hohiro Kurita. Further bad news for the Coordinator as his second son, Miyamoto, is killed in the Battle of Silene with House Davion forces when the 4th Deneb Light Cavalry sprung an ambush. The scout units of the 4th Denim, piloting mainly javelins, remain submerged in a recreational lake known as Watering Hole No. 9. Once the Curitans passed by, the Davion javelins powered up and fired all of their missiles at the soft backsides of their foe. This threw the DCMS forces into disarray and they promptly retreated from the planet. Miyamoto's brother, Takashi, mourns his death and says that he, quote, totally did not have anything to do with it, while he continues to pave his own path to the Coordinator's position. And to be fair, at least they didn't murder an entire world's population this time like they did on Kentaurus 4. In the Lyran Commonwealth, Archon Alessandro Steiner launches Operation Concentrated Weakness in response to Merrick aggression. The Estates General opposed this plan, which only means that they thought that the name sucked as much as I do, and not enough bribes had been paid out to them. Members of the LCAF command also expressed their doubts, but what the hell would they know about real warfare? Saying that a Lyrian social general is good at strategy is like saying that the average Capellan totally will not stab you in the back for a pat on the head. Anyway, Alessandro has this idea to make an invincible wall of force that could repel any invasion or raid from House Merrick. So he pulls troops from deep within the Commonwealth to place them on the Lyran Merrick border, apparently forgetting how space travel works in the process since the interior was now undefended by anything more than a peasant with a stick. We now move to the Capellan Confederation. Warrior House Ajoris springs a trap for Davion troops stationed on the Federated Suns world of Kamal. The Armed Forces of the Federated Suns calls this act Tuesday. Nothing much comes of this so-called trap, as the Davions retain possession of the world while the Capellans slink on back to their side of the border. Elsewhere on Texlos, Ling's Cutlasses reclaim the world in the name of their Chancellor. That's good news for them, as they now qualify for Capellan citizenship for this action. The bad news is that they're either outright destroyed or so severely mauled that they cease to be a unit after this. Likewise, on Pinard in the Tarian Concordat, the 2nd St. Ives Lancer captures the mercenary units Gordon's Highlands Light intact during a raid. This added 12 whole Panther mechs to their unit, which were pretty rare outside of the Draconis Combine at the time. Unlike their brethren on Texlos, the Lancers continue on as a unit. And now on to the technology report. A relatively unknown periphery power known as the Aryagan Coalition introduces the Sleipnir tank. Mech pilots all around rejoice at a new target to blow up. However, aerospace fighters rejoice as Gordon, Kingsley, and Thorpe Enterprises introduces the Mechbuster conventional fighter. It is 50 tons of angry, firing a Zeus 75 Mark 9 autocannon 20 while flying at insane speeds. If you are a light or medium mech jock, I would consider hiding if I were you. As an Urbie, I can personally attest to how much fun it is to one-shot things with an AC-20. And finally, the 5A variant of the Quick Draw is introduced by Technocron Manufacturing, replacing all of the missile launchers with even more medium lasers than it already had. This variant basically makes it a lighter version of a Charger, but cooking the pilot like a Rifleman Easy Bake Oven. And that's the way it is in the Inner Sphere. Join us next time as we cover the events of 3003, where not much happens. Yeah, I know that there's the clans to talk about, but this is news of the Inner Sphere and not news of Strand of Mechty. Those batch-all-loving bastards don't show up until 3049, and when they do, you can be sure that they will be covered in extensive detail. Thank you, and good night.